All right, go ahead.
Brett Boone hit 35 homers in 2003. I didn't know that. I thought it was just 2001 where he hit 37 homers randomly, and that was the only weird power year. But he hit 35 in '03, and his
Was he
age
still with the
is
Mariners?
still Mariners, and he was 32 and 34 those years. So
Definitely
definitely the
roids.
roids, absolutely.
Yeah.
So funny. Wow. Yeah. Well,
Everyone's favorite second baseman, Brett Boone.
mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Interesting.
Go Alfonso Soriano.
Excuse me, go Chuck Knobloch. The Hall of Famer that could have been.
Yeah.
Matt
Very
or
sad.
Ethan, are you still on Boone's page?
Yes.
Look at his '99 World Series. I'm pretty sure he wrecked the Yankees that World Series. He was like the only one who hit.
Oh, he was with Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me see. Where do I find that?
I
Show
think that's when he started
postseason
his
batting.
steroid journey.
99 World Series, 4 doubles, 3 ribbies, 538 batting average, 1400 OPS. Yeah, he went 7 for 13 that World Series with a run and 4 doubles. Yeah, holy shit. That's a pretty good 4 games, yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't, I mean, game 1, I think they scored, I think Chipper hit a homer, that was it. Game 2, the Yankees blew them out. I don't know how many runs they scored. Game 3, they were up like 5-3 or something when Knobloch hit that homer. And then game 4, again, I think they scored like maybe 2 runs. So they only scored like 6 runs in the entire series. You know, or no, probably like more like 10, but
yeah,
still for him to do all that means like literally no one did anyone else except Chipper hitting that one homer.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Well, the glory days.
Yeah, before we get too into waxing about the past, let's go with our beer updates, guys. I'm gonna start. I got a little bit of a different one tonight. Now this is hard to see. This is Treehouse.
Scotch ale?
It's a Scotch ale.
A Treehouse Scotch ale. Wow.
Yeah. So cheers to my dad for stopping up there about a month ago.
Nice. How heavy is the Scotch taste?
Oh, so Scotch ale doesn't actually taste like Scotch. It's a ale from Scotland. You know, it's a Scottish ale. So
wow.
it's.
I'm just gonna leave.
It's think a little bit lighter than a porter, a little bit heavier than a brown ale. So it's really, really malty. And this is 8.4%. It's the big boy. But like really, it's like drinking a glass of pumpernickel bread.
Nice.
Yum.
It's really good, and this is really, really well done one too. I'm very happy.
I mean, does Treehouse do anything that's not really, really well done?
That's true. It's their whole shtick.
Yeah.
Real quick aside, they've started like to try and build an online presence now, and they've got some videos where they do like blind tasting of like Miller Lite and Bud Light with their founder and head brewer.
Oh, really?
And he's actually surprisingly good at telling like, oh, this is what this is, this is what this is, this is what I taste. It's surprisingly good if you guys want to waste 20 minutes on YouTube.
Oh, that's really funny. Nice. Kyle, what do you got?
What about you, Colin? What's in your glass?
I got a Matt Root special. Riwaka?
Ooh.
Is that how you
no fucking way, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
I just randomly picked from my Matt Root pack.
So did I.
Influencing across the country. Yeah.
That's funny. I just grabbed one out of the fridge, yeah.
So that's now the real question is, Ethan, what did you rate yours?
Well, I haven't had a sip. I haven't had a sip yet. So, okay. But I know the last time. So this is one of the New Zealand hops, and so the last time that other half did a New Zealand hop pack was like last year or something, right, Matt? And we split it. We split a box of it, I think.
Yep.
And I remember we were both pretty impressed, right?
Yep.
And so I'm assuming that I'm going to like this one a lot. I didn't realize until I had it out here already, right? Because I was running late, of course, so I just grabbed the can. I haven't had a drink since like Thanksgiving because I was sick all last week.
Yep. You said you were slowing down too.
Yeah, and I was trying to slow down, but then I got like slammed with this like cold/virus something last week. It apparently wasn't COVID. I tested negative twice, but it was a weird fucking virus. Anyways, haven't touched alcohol. And then I realized when I pulled this out that it's a triple and it's 10 points. What is it,
I
Kyle?
was going to tell you that's a doozy. So
10.2%. So this is a way to
That's
get
what
back
Matt, you
into
said
it.
the 8 point something earlier. I was like, oh, I got one better.
yeah, make sure you have a glass of water too before I go to bed.
Yeah. So actually, it's better for me to be drinking it earlier now, right? So it's good.
But that was there was 3 in that pack I really liked. That was one of them. There was the other one, the one that looked like the kiwi with really long legs on it, and there was a Nectarone beer that was like an orange can. Ooh, that was really good too.
So I just had a sip,
Anything
Kyle.
orange
I think probably 425 or 450 for me. Now, I'm curious though. Well, Kyle, you can obviously mention what you think, but I want to ask. I want Matt to tell us something too. I maybe asked this before, but I can't remember. Matt, I've noticed at least with like the other half, the heavier ones, the 10% ones, and I think with the other breweries too. Um, a lot of times the really heavy ABV IPAs, they have like a sweetness to them. And can you explain that again as to why that is?
Yeah. So if you think about it this way, you need to get a higher ABV, you need more available fermentable sugar in the beer. You need more sugar present to be converted by the yeast. So it's brewed with a lot more malt. There's going to be a lot more sugar source that they're brewing it with. That's why it's called the triple. Back in the day it would have been because they're tripling the malt added. Instead of a double was doubling the malt, tripling was tripling the malt.
I see.
That's
okay.
upping your available fermentable sugars, which ups the alcohol content.
Okay.
Now, it's not 1-to-1. Remember, you're also going to get to a point where your yeast are going to die. You get too much alcohol in there and your yeast die unless it's a specific, very special strain of yeast. So that's one. Like champagne yeast can survive higher ABVs is one of them. A couple others that brewers have developed will survive higher ABV, but generally that's one part of it. The other part is the more grain you pack into the brew kettle, the less efficient you become. So your grain to water ratio is becoming less efficient. So you're not going to be extracting everything. So that's why there's a lot more sparging, a lot more process involved in getting every bit of that extractable food out of the grain. But the upside on why people brew stronger beers and why you see a lot of other half and treehouse beers coming, like they don't brew very many light beers, right? The lightest, most other half are going to be at like 6.5 to maybe 10, and they have varying degrees in the middle. I need to get my hand gestures but because alcohol is also a solvent, more alcohol in the beer, is going to help you extract more hop flavor. If you think about it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's not the only way you get hop flavor. Not at all by all, right? Or at all, by any means, but that will help. So having that that additional alcohol present. Now, what's good about other half and the way they do their and some of the other big New England brewers, you run the danger when you getting an imperial beer or a really really heavy triple of it becoming too syrupy. Think of if you guys have ever had Dogfish Head's 120-minute IPA. That's essentially a triple or a quadruple IPA. It's 18%, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, it is up there. It is. That's where Sam Calagione has his own special yeast that he's kind of developed. He calls it his ninja yeast that helps him get to that 18%. But it tastes like syrup. It's an incredible beer. I think everyone should have it once. Splurge. It is $10. Splurge on it, but it tastes like syrup. It tastes more like a barley wine than it does an IPA.
Interesting.
Does it lose its like the carbonation, like the bubbles of it all?
It will be. It can still hold the carbonation. It'll just be lesser. It'll be more. You won't get a big head on it, like you will a regular beer. And you can force carbonate beers too.
Hmm.
But those, when you get up to that high ABV, those are all made to age. You're going to have a lot less carbonation than some of those beers.
Right. Wow.
Okay, sweet. I knew there was some sciencey stuff.
Yeah, it's neat. And by all means, I did not explain everything totally, but
Isn't Dogfish by Rehoboth?
Yep.
Somewhere in that area?
They started as a brew pub in Rehoboth Beach, and then they opened their giant brewery in Milton, Delaware, maybe 30 or 40 minutes away. But yeah,
Okay.
Sam's first, I read his biography or his story of starting the brewery a while back. His first brewery was delivered on the back of a U-Haul. It was this company, which still exists today, not U-Haul, excuse me, UPS truck. It's a company that still exists today that would sell basically as big as a desk. It's made up of 3 kegs cut in half, where you have your kettle, your sparging unit, and then your finishing. Like all three brew vessels are, and they make them now nicer. It's not just kegs, but it's electronically controlled pumps. It's basically an advanced home brewer setup more than it is a brewery setup. And he said he had to brew multiple times a day just to try and keep up with demand for his restaurant. But it worked. And also the good part about something that small is if you screw up something, say he liked adding just random shit to his beer to see what it tastes like. You screw up on something, you're only dumping 30 gallons of beer instead of dumping 300 gallons of beer. So that's part of the DNA of Dogfish Head, right? That's why they've got weird ass shit in their beer, because he liked to say, "Oh, hey, what do you put raisins in that? Oh, cool. Let me put raisins in this. Like, let's see what this Oh, it's like a honey raisin ale from the Middle East. Let's call it an ancient ale. Cool. What else is next? You guys like that shit? Let's make up some other crazy stuff." So now, hopefully, they keep up that now that they've been bought by Boston Beer by Sam Adams. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Was that just recent that they were bought by
2 or 3 years ago?
So they were still just Dogfish Head up until that point.
Yep. They stayed independent for a long time.
Wow.
Their brewery in Milton's enormous. They built it very smartly, so it was easy to scale. So basically, they had it set up so you just blew out a wall and added tanks, and it just kept going and going down. It was really neat how they had it set up. They added the distillery. They added a number of different smart investments to that site to make them a pretty big player kind of on the eastern half of the country.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Very cool.
And I gave the solo exhibition for Waka, I gave it a 4.25.
Kyle, what are you going to give it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
didn't know Matt gave that before I did it. I didn't look purposely.
Mm-hmm. I think these ones tend to be a little bit too sweet just for my personal palate, which is part of the reason I was asking. I mean, it's a delicious beer, but yeah.
As I've been in the last 5 years, as I've been drinking more and more and more triples, and that, I find I need to split them with someone, right? It's good.
This one would be
8
a good
ounces
splitter.
Is good, not 16, right?
Yeah,
that'd be a good garage beer to split.
100%. Yeah, exactly right.
And that's the tough part. There was a interesting brewery in Akron, Ohio named Hop and Frog that made a lot of big stuff for the longest time. Like even their shandy, which a shandy is normally like a summer fun light beer. I'm gonna ride my bike and drink this 3% juice beer. Yeah, they made a shandy that was 8%. Like they made a turbo shandy. None of their beers were less than 8%. So it's nice. It's like, oh, cool, this is a great beer. But they sold everything in 22-ounce bottles, and like, fuck, drinking one of those if you were by yourself sucked.
Yeah,
because you got to that second half and you're like, I don't want to finish this, but it's tasty. So luckily, Fred down there at Hop and Frog started selling 8-ounce cans of beer, which is really interesting. Tiny little beers.
Wow. Interesting.
And that's a much, much easier. It still sucks to pay $5 for an 8-ounce beer, but when you think, oh, well, for a big bottle, for a 22-ounce bottle, I was paying 16. Okay, $5 for a little one.
Wasting it.
Yeah, this makes more sense. Yeah, and I can only open it 8 ounces at a time if I really want to. So
yeah.
There's a couple breweries that are piloting that. There's a place in Chicago that does super crazy imperial stouts in little 8-ounce cans, and it's nice. You get it and you go, what the hell? But then you pour it out and you go, I see, I understand. So
I like that. That's cool. Nice.
All right, I've overspent my budget for talking on beer tonight.
I thought it was all good. I liked it.
So
It's always
wait.
good.
Do you guys hear that? Oh, I hear it. It's the bandwagon coming. It's the bandwagon for the Green Bay Packers. Everyone jump
I
on.
knew it.
Holy crap. They look great. Holy shit. Is this going to be only the third long-term quarterback on this team in my lifetime? Maybe. To everyone else who's suffering through quarterback hell, fuck you all.
Oh my god.
This recording is going to come out and bite me in the ass in a couple of years or months, but right now it feels pretty good. So
wait until Monday when Tyrod Taylor beats you guys.
Okay, yeah. Okay, 4-8 New York Giants. Yeah. Okay.
The fact that they have 4 wins is unbelievable. Like, there's just no way they should have 4 wins, and somehow Danny DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy.
Oh yeah.
Is
I wish it was Danny
start?
DeVito.
Is he hurt now?
No.
Oh
no, but Taylor was hurt.
Why has nobody signed RG3? RG3 is like our age and he wants to play. He was like lobbying the Browns to sign him. Like, wouldn't he be more
Why
capable?
hasn't anyone signed Colin Kaepernick?
Well, obviously Kaepernick, but like, wouldn't these people be way more capable than like a random fucking Tommy DeVito?
RG3's got his problems too. I want to see Tommy keep winning because Syracuse let him go. Like,
yeah,
fuck you, Syracuse. Like, look at this guy. He looks the part of an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, his development is to at least be serviceable.
Yep.
I mean,
that's impressive. Yeah.
I would not want to watch him every week, but
no, but I mean, he's competitive.
Yeah.
Competitive.
Yeah.
And I read the other day that he took a lower offer because he wanted to be on the Giants.
Yeah, I think I read something about that too. He's from that area. Like, he lives at home.
Yeah, he's from Jersey, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes home. His mom does his laundry for him. Like,
yeah, I saw that in the news.
It's a real privileged, white boy lifestyle. But
yeah.
The Giants fans are eating it up.
I had plenty of colleagues when I first graduated college who were still living at home with their parents. I would have done the same thing if I could have. It's awesome.
Yeah,
stash money away.
Were your colleagues making league minimum in the NFL, which has got to be what 700, something?
Yeah, right.
Is it really that much?
I mean, baseball is like $550. I got to imagine the NFL is higher. I'm gonna look it up.
Or at least comparable.
I thought league minimum was like $250, maybe.
Seven.
How many people are ever going to make $250 that in their lifetime, like in 1 year?
Yeah, wow. 750. So
yeah, he ain't hurting for money.
Damn.
Anyway. Hilarious. So you're on the Jordan Love bandwagon, Matt. That's the moral of the story here.
Yeah, I mean, and I did the bandwagon bit because I had already written the season off. I am a terrible Packers fan this year. I said, it's going to suck for a little while. We'll figure it out and we'll move on. But we may not have figured it out, but he's put together a string of 3 pretty good games.
Against pretty good teams, too. Or at least the Lions, right?
Lions and Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs, right.
Last night, and he played well. He's had 2 or 3 straight games now with 3 touchdown passes. And
they beat the Chiefs last night?
What?
They beat the Chiefs last night?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Wow.
And it really wasn't close. Like, yes, it was close, but the Packers were in the lead the whole game.
Wow. Yeah, look at that. I just pulled up the box score. Okay.
And
I mean, I barely watch the NFL, but from what I know, I think the Niners are like the team to beat now because they destroyed the Eagles yesterday, from what I read.
Yeah, 42-19.
Now that we don't have Aaron Rodgers to choke against San Francisco in the playoffs, maybe we beat them.
Well, didn't Favre do the same thing? Did he only get to 2?
Favre got the 2 Super Bowls. Rodgers only got the 1.
Right, yeah.
Rodgers could never make a passing chance. Now, again, there were years where it wasn't his fault, right? The freaking Seahawks game with the botched on. There was the overtime loss where he didn't even get to touch the ball before they changed the rules, right? But
Should have planned ahead.
well, shit. Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
don't find
God.
yourself in that spot to begin with. Is what you say, right? Like, but I was nervous because you got Saquon healthy, and you got some momentum, and you got Mr. Jones with a big contract. I thought your prediction that the Giants would win a Super Bowl before the Packers did again was, actually a little bit closer to coming true this year. And no.
Well, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure the Giants are in the playoff hunt because
No,
the
they're not.
NFC is garbage.
They're going to have
There's
to
like
do a good job. They're 4-8. The Packers are in a playoff spot at 6-6 right now, but there's like four or
right, they're in
five
the
teams that are
7th.
6-6.
Yeah.
So you have some work to do. The reason everyone's hyping the Packers now is, other than the Vikings, every team we play for the rest of the way out has got a losing record. So
Who's the Vikings quarterback now? That
who knows? CJ
Cousins
Stroud, the
tore his
guy.
ACL.
Is it Stroud?
No, he's Texans.
Whoever it is, it's the USFL guy or XFL guy that the Browns cut at the beginning of the season. But yeah, the Packers play, I think, the Giants, the Panthers, the Bucks, and the Vikings, and something like it's shitty teams the rest of the way out. So
My Carolina Panthers, first team in NFL to be eliminated from the playoffs this season.
Hey, so is Bill Belichick actually not that good of a coach, and he was only good because of Tom Brady? You guys know way more about football than
Or
me.
is he just doing a masterful job of tanking so that he can get the next Tom Brady?
Or that.
I mean, I think he's tanking this year. Bradley Zappi, right? Like Belichick's a good coach. Belichick is a very, very good coach.
He's just been in the league for so long too. Like he was with the Giants in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean he was an assistant under Parcells, right?
Yeah,
he was coaching the Browns, and they let him go. They let him get away.
Right.
No, he's very smart. He's very good about taking away your strength. Taking away the opponent's best strength. You're not going to beat him with the number one player. He's very good at discipline and culture.
I'm just saying
to a fault.
his career record without Tom Brady is well below 500. Is all I'm saying.
I mean,
but it's always circumstantial. It's just it's like this with any athlete pairing. Like do it with Derek Jeter and Joe Torre, or do it with U.S. presidents and circumstances.
But that gets to a good point that I want to remember across sports all the time, and especially with fucking the Yankees and Aaron Boone. Basically, what you're getting at is that like we don't have a good answer. We're not accurate when it comes to evaluating coaches and managers in any fucking sport.
No way.
Like not at all.
Way.
Like I think baseball is maybe the hardest, but I think I think Belichick is a perfect example then, right? Because mostly I'm just being a smartass, right? Like I know that he is pretty much unanimously considered to be a brilliant coach, right? But I do think that it is kind of interesting to note that he is well below 500 without Tom Brady. But I think, all that does is just illustrate, right? Is that I think a lot of the success of coaching comes from right place, right time. Just like the right mix of people. Like Joe Torre was pretty much garbage, right? We know this before the Yankees as a manager, right?
He admitted to as much. He said when he came to New York, like he didn't feel it was not only being fired the 3 previous times. It was the fact that he had resources in those players that he had never had anywhere else. So he was like, whatever, if I fucking suck, I suck. But like, come on, I got everything right here handed to me. So it's I think it's the people. I think that's a key part though, is to like recognize when you have what you have, but not go too far, like in the manic direction of needing to capitalize on it. So like what Belichick and Brady were able to do was like extend that period for like 15 seasons or whatever, just like Pop and Duncan in the NBA and everything. Whereas like you get a lot of these things where it's like they flame out after a couple years because egos get in the way or injuries happen or just lackadaisical, like they don't want it as much anymore. So I think there is like real genius to Belichick and Brady, even though it might have not been the best relationship of all time, but them finding a way to coexist with each other and extend that mastery for,
Right.
2003 to 20 or whenever
Whatever
he
it
went to
was.
the
Yeah.
Bucks. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And actually, Pop is a great example that you mentioned, right? Because I mean, the Spurs have been garbage the last couple of years, right? After like an insane run of being so good all the time, and I think he's another person who is unanimously considered to be like a really brilliant coach. So that's a great example
Yeah.
too. But basically, all this is saying is I just want everybody to calm the fuck down. But it also, when it comes to evaluating coaches, but it also makes me wonder. We didn't get to this last time. I know I had like mentioned it quickly. I am desperate. We'll never know, but I am desperate to know why the Cubs thought that Craig Counsell was worth the record contract for an MLB manager. Like blew it out of the water, right? Like I mean, it's not even close. What was it? 5 years, 40 million, 8 million a year, which no manager has ever been paid anything close to that. And
Yeah.
so clearly the Cubs are like, this guy is a fucking gem of a manager, right? And man, I want to know, like, because for me it's funny, after watching Ted Lasso, I basically think that every great coach should be Ted Lasso. But obviously Bill Belichick is not like Ted Lasso, and I don't think Greg Popovich is like Ted Lasso either.
No,
But
Greg Popovich. Greg is closer to Bill than he is to
yeah,
Ted
right.
Lasso.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, what rubric are people using? What is the criteria here? Why did Craig Counsell get fucking poached by the Cubs and given, and was given this massive contract? It's just, it's really fascinating to me because we just don't have a good answer for it, right? But that's
Right,
something I'm
and
very
David
interesting.
Ross was a pretty good manager, right? He was
Yeah, and
considered
they
to
were
be a
happy with
decent.
him. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
happy with him. Yeah, the GM even said something like recently about like, we love Rossi, he's our manager or something. But then Council got available, and they were like, bam, sorry, Rossi, you're
fuck
out.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, and so it'll be interesting to see, right, over the next couple of years how the Cubs do and everything. But yeah, I find all of that so interesting, right? And obviously we've talked about Booney a lot on the pod, and you know apparently the last couple of seasons and stuff, right? Like Hal and Cashman have talked to the players about him, and players have vouched for him, and Judgy has described him as as a special coach and all of this kind of stuff, right? So, some of these guys. Oh, and actually, Colin's favorite, University of Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, the number one team in the nation. Uh, um, Similar stuff, right? Because he just served his suspension, and there were quotes from some of his players, right, about like, he's our guy, we love him, we're doing this for him, and oh, my guy is back, and blah 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 blah. So it's really interesting to see the kind of the strength of the bonds that can develop, or in the case of like Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars, you can get the opposite, right? But yeah, it's really interesting to see. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have anything you want to talk about specifically, but Colin, I'm kind of curious for your thoughts on the college football playoff thing, because obviously you are an avid college football fan and have been your whole life, and I only pay attention kind of casually. And the choice of the four playoff teams to somebody casual like me seems questionable. I'm curious for your thoughts if you have any.
Yeah, I mean, questionable is a good way to put it. For those who aren't college football fanatics like me, Michigan, as Ethan alluded to, is the number one team in the country. Number two is Washington. Number three, to my horror, is Texas. And number four is Alabama. There's a lot of layers to all of this. I'll start with the biggest elephant in the room, FSU. I will never, ever, ever understand the reasoning for leaving them out. If I was an LSU fan, alumni, player, coach, whatever, I'd burn it down. I mean, to be 13-0
And
and
they
be
played a
left
good
out.
schedule, right? Like they
13-0.
played good teams. Yeah, 13-0, and they played good teams, right?
13-0.
Yeah.
So the contrasting argument, and this I don't think is a good one, but they lost their
Oh, their quarterback, right?
Quarterback.
And that's apparently the committee
Right.
was thinking about how their starting quarterback was down.
But
Right.
that's what you get if you go to a committee instead of a computer, right? Like you don't
Right.
get judged like so everyone who like fucking Jim Bowden 10 years ago probably was complaining about the computer and how it should be decided. Well, guess what? This is what you get now. I don't even know if
Was
it was Jim Bowden or Bobby Bowden, whatever. I don't know
Bobby.
whoever the dad was.
Bobby.
Like probably complained about the old system before you get the new system. Well, the new system is you're not going on a formula now, and again, the
Mhm.
BCS computer formula was a bunch of bullshit and secretive, and that was nonsense as well. But it's not going to look objectively at your past record. It's going to look at what's going to make what is the best football team now. Well, the best football team may not be FSU anymore because they don't have their quarterback, and Alabama's playing great. Everyone loves Alabama. Everyone's got a hard on to Alabama, especially if you're down south of Mason-Dixon, like Alabama. So, anyway, to anyone listening, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they're all good points. The counter argument to that is there was a story that got released today by Heather. Fuck, I can't remember what her last name
Heather
is.
sports writer.
Yeah, she's ESPN. The committee basically admitted that the way that they have treated their evaluation for the last 10 years was changed in this last week. And so
That's shitty.
that to me, that to me is inexcusable. If you know you are doing something wrong and you do it anyway, that there's just no coming back from it.
Condoleezza Rice, I expect better of you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Where's your integrity?
So that part of it I will just never get. I mean, people will throw out the fact that it's ironic that the ACC was one of the conferences who kind of grandstanded the whole playoff expansion that could have happened for this season, and that would have alleviated a lot of what happened. But really, the 14 playoff was never any better than the BCS. They just got lucky that really outside of 2016, where you can kind of make that argument for Penn State, and 2014, where Ohio State snuck in and then won the national championship. Like the four top teams have kind of been the four top teams. So there really hasn't been a ton of debate. And then you have this year, and it's wild, and it's terrible for FSU, a school that I don't care about at all, but I don't understand the logic, and it wasn't logical. That's my point, is that they went back, to Matt saying they're humans, and they've been evaluating one way for 10 years, and then in the last week of the last year of the 4-year playoff, they decided to change it because they didn't think that a backup quarterback could win a national championship. When we've seen backup quarterbacks in college win national championships, 2014 with Ohio State, and we've seen backup quarterbacks in the NFL win championships with the Eagles in what was that,
Nick Foles, yeah,
2018 or whatever.
Back up to Carson Wentz, right? Was that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The point is they were projecting something that you would think doesn't have any precedent, except it does.
Yeah.
And so that part of it is really fucked up. The fact that they placed them between Alabama at 4 and Georgia at 6, and they're saying that they're a better team than Georgia, but not a better team than Alabama, is also so fucking confusing. Georgia had won 29 straight games.
This is what I was going to ask about Georgia, yeah, because so 2 straight national titles. They hadn't lost.
2 straight national
They hadn't
championships.
lost in 728 days, is what I read.
Yep.
And they lost to Alabama by 3 points. And you're saying they're not one of the top 4 teams in the country? Like I gotta say, I would still think if there was like a full like 8-team playoff, like just as a casual observer, my money would still be on them. Like, how the fuck are you not betting on them after like that's insane.
But again, that's where to Matt's point, I think the human element comes in, because it's like, the SEC and the Big Ten have oftentimes during this 10 years had 2 teams get in to the playoff, and there would have potentially been an even bigger uproar if Alabama and Georgia had made the playoff this season in favor of Texas or Florida State. But for my money, I mean, Alabama's the most out of like those top 7, 8 teams or so. Alabama's the most improved from start to finish. They are hot at the right time. I would not be shocked at all. They have the pedigree, they have the experience, they have the coaching. If they win the national championship, not going to surprise me one bit.
But if they lose the Iron Bowl, are they in the championship in the SEC?
I believe so.
Okay, then that doesn't. So that the Hail Mary at the Iron Bowl does not change the outcome of them beating Georgia, but it might change their ranking in the eyes of the committee.
Yeah,
because
a 2-team. There would have been a better chance for Georgia to make it.
Yes,
had they lost to Alabama with 2 losses, Alabama would have never made it. If everything else had gone as it went, Alabama with 2 losses is not making it because Florida State would have then made it, or Georgia.
So that's the one that I want. They're hot, and you're right. They are most really improved compared from the Texas game where they lost to now. They are playing much better. They were almost benching their starting quarterback, and now he's on fire.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, Jordan Love.
Yeah. But yeah, they were a Hail Mary away from disaster.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of sports, in general. But I also don't fucking believe for 1 second that Washington is the second best team. I watched Michael Penix Jr. play quarterback at Indiana for years. I mean, people improve, change of scenery happens, and people get better. But there's just
I don't know. Washington played a lot of ranked teams this year. They had a surprisingly tough schedule.
Yeah, I've call it Big Ten bias, but
I was just about to say East Coast bias.
The defense in the Pac-12 and in the Big 12, oh man, it is atrocious. Like really bad.
They beat Oregon twice this year.
Yeah, Oregon's not that good. People just tried to talk up Oregon, but they're not that good because guess what? Bo Nix is not that good, even though he's a finalist for the Heisman. Because I also saw Bo Nix play at Auburn, and Penn State beat him handily. No, he came to Penn State, and we still beat him. But regardless, like, come on. I think from like a competitive standpoint, I'm actually really interested. I was going to ask my connection to the whole Penn State beat and everything. So when Penn State joined the Big Ten in football, it was 92 or so. And they were the best team in the Big Ten in the 90s. They went undefeated in 94. They won the most conference games of anyone. Like, they came in and they just dominated the Big Ten. And I'm kind of wondering, like, is there going to be a team in either the SEC, with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, or the Big Ten with UCLA, USC, and everything, that they're going to come in? And my gut tells me no, because none of these teams know how to play defense. But then I'm also like, well, they probably have more innovative offenses, than a lot of these Big Ten schools that have been cupcakes forever, or even the dwellers of the SEC, like a Vanderbilt, or something like that. So, but yeah, to Ethan, it's not the right 4. What is the right 4? I'm not exactly sure, but that's not it.
Yeah.
And I think this is Michigan's playoff to lose. I'd be surprised if Texas wins, and they beat Washington. I really think it'll be Washington and Michigan. I think they will take down Alabama, but then again, like I said earlier, I would not be surprised if Bama just rolls right through and wins another natty.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I feel like that Michigan-Alabama game will actually be very very exciting. I'm going to really quickly move to a different college sport and hype up my Colorado State Rams basketball team, men's basketball team, who are ranked number 12 and number 13 in the country, depending on the poll, the highest they have ever been ranked. Yep, top fucking 15 in the country, CSU Rams basketball. Where the fuck is Syracuse? Nowhere to be found. But CSU Rams, number 12 or 13. So how about that?
Hot dang.
I know,
What
right?
conference are they in?
Mountain West.
Mountain West.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
So they
gonna
got
have to
some good
try and check
basketball
out a
though out
game.
there.
Huh?
Have they played Gonzaga yet?
No, but they destroyed Creighton, and Creighton was number 8 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say they got Mountain West has some good basketball from what
Yeah.
I can remember.
So yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and check out a
Orange
game because
State,
I bet the
damn.
environment would be really fun. So
Will Ethan go to? Let's make bets here. What's the over under on how many years it'll take for Ethan to get to a college basketball game?
I mean,
I'll
this
set the line at 4.5.
4.5 years. I mean, if I was ever going to go, this seems to be the time, right? Talking about bandwagons, now is the time to jump on CSU Rams, men's
Oh
basketball
man,
bandwagon.
what a
So,
challenging schedule with upcoming games against Colorado State Pueblo, Division II, Colorado State Pueblo.
yeah. Listen, Syracuse doesn't
It's
get to
like when
talk.
Syracuse plays
Yeah,
Lemoyne.
Syracuse
Yeah.
does not get to talk.
Those are exhibition games that don't count towards rankings or record.
Even
This is
the first couple official games that Syracuse played every
this
year
is
were always against fucking nobodies.
this is Division II though.
I mean, that is crazy. That's crazy. But I'm just saying, all of these huge fucking programs do the same shit.
Air Force. Go Colorado State against Air Force
Yeah,
or
Air
Utah
Force in
State.
the Mountain West.
yeah. Air Force is Mountain
Air
West.
Force and Mountain West.
They're a big rival. Because just a couple hours south of here, Colorado
Yeah,
Springs.
they're in Colorado again. Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, I'm just Josh. They beat Boston College too, which is a
Yeah.
perennial Eastern powerhouse. So
Yeah.
powerhouse.
No,
quotes.
it's cool. So I'm hoping they keep it up. It's pretty exciting stuff. And the football team, all things considered, they lost to Hawaii the last game of the season, which was a bummer. But they went 5-7, which isn't horrible. They've had some good development, so they might be on the way up as well. We can hope. I was actually looking it up. CSU football was actually really good for a while, like in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, weren't they FCS level?
Yeah,
or whatever
there were a
back
couple
then?
of years. Yeah, under this guy Sonny Lubick was the coach. And he actually there's a steakhouse in town called the Sonny Lubick's Steakhouse. I haven't gone there yet,
Nice.
but yeah, they used to be good. So I'm hoping because it'd be kind of fun. It would be fun for the area for that to happen.
Well, the transfer portal opened today, so maybe you can take all Primes players.
I know, right? Who are leaving?
Don't want to be there anymore.
I know. Jesus
Wait, really?
Christ.
Is he having a mass exodus?
He's losing a lot of coaches, but I don't know about players. I haven't really checked too much outside of Penn State. Although Ohio State, their starting quarterback's in the portal.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. And everything.
How
but
does that happen? How are you the starting quarterback of Ohio State and you want to leave?
I mean, as I told my Penn State chat group, I mean, at the end of the first half of the Penn State game, Ohio State had 3 timeouts and like a minute and 3 seconds left, and they kneeled the ball.
Oh.
And then I'm pretty sure they played really conservatively, against Michigan as well. So I think like it was like the Miguel Andujar thing. Like you just send a message that we don't trust you.
I mean,
even though
he'll
even
still-
though you're winning,
He'll get a couple million in an NIL deal somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I think I read now. I could be getting the number wrong, but I think I read something the other day that said like a good quarterback in college costs you $1.5 to $2 million of NIL deals. Is what they're saying right now to get a good starting college quarterback, which is just nuts because that's 2 to 2.5 times what you're going to make on a rookie contract, right, in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yep.
So the NFL better change your scale too. Fucking Goodell.
They won't.
No, they don't. They don't have to. There's nothing going to pressure them to do it. But
Yeah,
they should.
They won't. So what? They lose out on a couple players for
a couple years.
For a couple of years, yeah. Like the league's still making a ton of money.
Well, yeah. I mean, when he's paid, when Goodell's paid more on an annual basis than any player in the league, like fuck you, Goodell.
Yep.
The Jaguars are 8-3 this year.
Yeah, they're good. Trevor Lawrence
Holy
is good.
shit, that's crazy.
Amazing what you can do when you fire Urban Meyer.
Amazing what you can do when you have long, flowing blonde hair.
Sunshine.
And the Bengals are only 5-6, but Burrow is hurt, right?
Bengals are in the
He's-
basement. Bills are not in the playoffs as of now.
Yeah, what the fuck
Did
is
they win
happening?
yesterday?
I don't know. I think they're 6-6, maybe.
Did they win
maybe
yesterday?
they had to buy because I saw they were 6-6 too. But
Yeah, I don't think they played
Yeah.
yesterday. Do we have anything MLB hot stove to talk about?
The Brewers just gave a 19-year-old an $80 million contract.
That's true, they did. Yeah, really interesting. Jackson Churio.
Yeah.
Yep.
Better be really confident how he does.
I think they are.
All I can say is it just, to me, seems amazing. I mean,
I
good
feel
for
like
him.
I guess good for him, but also he could if he's that good that they're willing to give that deal, he could probably be confident enough to say, no, thank you. I'll test free agency when I'm 25 and I'll get a $400 million 12-year deal or something, But
Yeah, but remember, he also, what the Brewers probably played up is he still would be on the, minimum deals for the first 3 years before I could even get to arbitration. So
yeah,
it takes 3 years.
right.
Yeah, so
right.
we'll pay you $600,000 for 3 years in a row, even though you're worth $10 million.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, as a 19-year-old, do you take $80 million guaranteed, or do
Right.
you bet on yourself for $400 million? Right?
No, that's
as a
really
kid
difficult.
from Venezuela, right? Venezuela.
And you never know, right? You can get hurt and it can all come crashing down, right? Yep. So
Yeah.
that does make sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they better be confident in their analytics and their development for the kid, and they better hope that he still has the fire to keep improving.
Yep.
Has he reached the majors yet?
I don't think so.
Wow. But he was a number one pick, right?
Was he international?
I mean, I know he's one of the very top prospects in the game.
He is Venezuelan. I had to get that right. But I was spelling his name CHOU.
OU, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great content.
Great content.
Oh, wonderful content. I am just killing it right now, knocking it out of the park. He was born in 2004. Holy shit, do I feel old.
Yeah, right.
No, hasn't made. He's made it to AAA. He played Cup of Tea with Nashville, 6 games last year. And in those 6 games, he hit .333 with a .851 OPS. So, not bad. No homers, but doubles. So,
it'd be interesting.
Well, I mean, the Brewers are, I think, in not a rebuild mode, but I don't know that they're going to make the playoffs next year, type thing.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I've got to share my screen just because this popped up as I was looking up Mr. Jackson Chorio. They make Nerf Gatling guns now? That this thing's like a tripod and a fucking 40 dart chain.
Jesus Christ.
And it's motorized. Oh, 72 darts. Motorized.
Wow. Holy
shit. What the hell?
Only $49.97.
What do you you expecting to hold trenches at Normandy with this thing? What are you doing?
We live in the bad place.
I mean, I would have loved this as a kid. Don't get me wrong. I still remember the day the babysitter, Todd, from across the street, hooked the 2 chains for our Nerf chain guns in together so he could fire 20 bullets at a time. But man, 72. Holy shit. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I just little advertisement for Nerf chain guns.
Yeah. Was it Nerf that made those little vortex footballs with the long tails? You know what I'm talking about?
That would whistle when you threw them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Nerf bought them. But yeah, they had the commercials like John Elway can throw us 100 yards.
Yeah, those were fun. Yeah, those were fun.
My brother owned one, but we didn't. Well, we would throw it over the house to each other. But we mainly played a game that we literally creatively called Bean Each Other with a Football, where we literally just ran around our yard throwing it at each other. So yes, that was what our vortex was. Because you could also, if you weren't going to throw it, if you didn't have confidence in your vortex assisted spiral, you could just hold on to the tail and throw it like a tomahawk.
Yeah.
So we would do that too. And it was only as big as like bigger than a baseball, smaller than a softball. So you could tomahawk throw that pretty accurately and with some oomph, but not like too much to hurt someone.
Yeah.
Oh man, good times.
What a throwback.
Yeah.
Man, do they still make them?
Oh, they've got to make them.
I hope so. Those were awesome.
Vortex football.
I mean, nobody does anything outside.
So Nerf owns it now. So Nerf bought them out, and they still make it with the little whistler. They call it the Nerf Vortex Arrow Howler.
Can order one on Amazon right now. $12. Yeah. Oh man, I kind of want to get one. Oh man, that's awesome. I'm feeling like very nostalgic. I can like vividly picture throwing those around. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
It also makes me like realize how weak my arm was. Because I think about like where I was chucking them to, and I'm like, that wasn't far at all.
Oh man,
that's okay. Not everyone is John Elway, but it does. So there is an SB Nation. The Vortex football made everyone an elite quarterback.
That's right, exactly.
It debuted in 1993. Holy crap!
93. Wow. I didn't realize they were that old. Wow. Okay.
Oh, and it's got the footage of John Elway and the old Broncos bright orange throwing it.
Oh, funny.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. Oof.
Nice.
Man. Now I want one too. I've got like a perfectly good college NCAA size football in my closet that we got when I finished playing football at Liverpool that I've never touched. It's still in its box. Like, I don't know why I'm preserving it. Like it's gonna be no, I should get it out and throw it around. But no, I want a vortex. I want a freaking tiny little baseball football with a tail on it.
Make sure you put a pump on your Christmas list for Santa.
Oh, I've got plenty. I've got a hand pump. I've got a bike pump. I've got a Ryobi mobile pump that can pump up your football or your car. Yeah, it's good for those days where you have a slow leak. Just put it in the trunk.
There you go. Cool.
Sweet. Yeah. You guys...
we can end this with where we think Ohtani's going to go.
Oh my God. By the time we record again, he may have landed.
He may have signed.
I hope to God he's signed by then.
People are thinking he's going to... I saw people think he's going to sign in the next week. But then, again, right, the thing with Shohei is nobody fucking knows anything. So
yeah. On purpose, though,
On purpose, yeah. God, man, it's really hard, right? Like, part of me wants to say that he's going to go to the Braves because, like, the one consistent thing over the last several years is that he wants to win. So if we know anything, that seems to be a safe bet.
Whoa. What? Do we know that?
I feel like that is the one... Well, we don't know for sure, but I feel like that's the one consistent thing that we have heard about him for years now. So if we can say we know anything about him, that's the closest bet. As opposed to like, playing on the West Coast or playing with other Japanese players like apparently Yamamoto wants to do. Yada, 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 right? That narrative at least has been persistent that he wants to win. But then again, the Braves have signed so many people to these big deals already. Do they really have enough money to give Shohei the type of deal? Yeah,
well, big deals, but comparatively not big deals. Like that's been their genius.
Comparatively, but they still have several people. They have like 7-8 people on like 9-figure contracts. And Shohei's going to fetch, when all is said and done, Shohei's probably going to get, what, a $600 million deal? $550?
If he goes long term.
If he goes long term. So, I don't know. The Braves would be that would be quite something. That would be kind of fun to see. I feel like the Dodgers are the safe bet. Um, I feel like there's talk of him going to the Giants, but that seems I don't know. I feel like he would be the only show in town, and I wonder if he wants to do that or not.
The only show in town.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to do that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So the Braves have 224 million committed so far to the payroll next year. So you're right. Not nothing to scoff at.
yeah. That's pretty sizable.
I was going to say the Braves, but now I'm going to say the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Fucking Dodgers.
I mean, Betts, Freeman, Ohtani has like a top 3 in the lineup. Holy fuck!
Which, by the way, Mookie is permanently moving back to second base.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they signed Hayward.
Yeah.
What do you got, Kyle? I think it'd be cool if he went to the Mariners. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Mariners will shell out enough money.
What if he goes to the Blue Jays?
Oh yeah, the Blue Jays are getting talked about now. That'd be interesting.
I'd probably cry if he went to the Blue Jays. I don't know. Part of me thinks he's going to go back to the Angels because they just let him do whatever the fuck he wants, and I don't know, with his recent injuries, if he's going to get that kind of autonomy from other teams.
No, it's
autonomy.
Autonomy. Yep. And I mean, how many major leaguers outside of Chris Bryant don't want to win? That narrative to me is so fucking stupid. Like, of course he wants to win.
Fair enough.
But there's also something to be said about just being in a place where you think you can succeed, especially when you take into account that he's not from America.
Yeah.
Or the United States, I should say. And everything. So it would just be hard for me to believe he leaves the West Coast in general.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers almost seem too obvious.
Yeah.
But of course, if he signs with the Dodgers, it's going to kind of be like, because it's so obvious, I'm just going to be like, oh, okay. But if he signs with any other team, I'm going to be like, okay, I want to know why. Like, I want to know what was the motivation,
yeah.
what happened and everything. Like, they'll do that for the Dodgers too. Like, someone will write the story of like the behind the scenes of how Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, but at the same time I'll be like, yeah, well, he also probably got $750 million.
Yeah, so he's gonna get
right,
something
exactly.
Just like move across the street.
Yeah.
And everything.
And to be in a lineup with fucking Betts and Freeman.
I mean,
yeah.
But there is and right, it's like, projecting tax revenue from a tax tax revenue after you make a tax cut. Right, it's all pseudoscience, but there is people out there saying, "Oh, just signing Ohtani brings $30 million of value to your franchise every year."
Yeah.
So someone's going to take that into account. Not the Yankees, but someone's going to take that into account.
Yeah.
But I heard today the Rangers are out. The Mets were probably out.
Yeah, that's surprising. I kind of thought Steve Cohen was going to throw everything at him, but
well, I've heard the Rangers, the Mets, and the Red Sox have turned their attention to other people. So I think this is like every free agent does this, right? Like they make it clear at some point that they're not interested, and I think we've just reached that point with all but maybe a handful of teams.
Yeah. And the handful of teams that are still in on the talks are sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, right.
Which I guess we haven't heard the Yankees are out, so
yeah, the latest thing I saw had the Mets, the Yankees, and someone else is like a 1% chance. And then it had the Blue Jays and the Dodgers at 30% each. So that's 60% of the pie right there. I can't remember, and the other teams off the top of my head, but I just it is so weird too because he in theory can pitch next year, but in theory he can also become like an everyday outfielder. if he wanted to.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
so it's like, we talk about the Harper situation in the past, and how there's people out there who say that the Yankees need to get Soto to like redeem themselves, for the Harper thing, and I still like I understand that, but I'm also like, I mean, Harper just got lucky that there's no first baseman with that Hoskins got hurt last year, and they needed a first baseman because where else was he going to play? Like, he wasn't ready to play the outfield and everything. So like,
He used to be a catcher.
yeah, I mean, these guys
I'm
are
just
athletes.
joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good. I just the Ohtani possibilities seem endless, but they also seem really scary too.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had to pick, I just to be different, I'll pick the Angels.
Ooh,
Yeah.
He's gonna go back.
I thought you were going to go Giants.
The Angels. No.
Yeah.
I think there's legit chance he could go back to the Angels. I also think there's a legit chance he can go to the Mariners. The Giants, I mean, I can see it because they want to throw money around, but everything I've heard about that park from a hitter
Yeah,
perspective,
exactly.
like,
I don't
it's
think he
just
wants
so
to get
bad
there.
that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, why would he want to do that?
Yeah.
And
Because as a pitcher, it'd be great.
Right.
yeah, but he's not primarily a pitcher. He's primarily a hitter. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, maybe hopefully by the next pod we're gonna know, and then we can talk about it.
If he's not signed by, I think the next time we're on the calendar is Arya's birthday, which is December 20th.
Oh, well, that he should be. Yeah, hopefully within the next week.
Yeah, if he doesn't sign before December 20th, like, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you'll all know. You can send us to what's the Twitter account, old takes exposed or cold takes exposed or whatever.
Oh, funny.
Throw our names into the hat.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
All right, boys. Any shout outs?
Nope.
Shoot. I had one and I forgot. Damn.
Matt's looking up something. So
Yeah,
he's
is that what he's doing?
No. I had something earlier that I was like, I'll say it at the end of the show, and now I forgot.
I'll shout out to Oscar Gonzalez. The Yankees.
SpongeBob.
The Yankees signed him so far, and so the Yankees are really making big waves and really improving the team.
Hey, don't you get on SpongeBob, okay?
Is that his nickname?
He had some obsession with SpongeBob that like everyone in Cleveland went nuts for.
Uh-huh.
So like anytime he'd do something, like, I mean, he hit a couple walk-offs, everyone would start singing "Who Lives in a Pineapple Under the Sea." So
that's hilarious. Okay, that's pretty fun.
All right, boys. Well, we are headed to Atlanta.
Green Bay, go Green Bay.